Okay, let's kick off this deep dive. Today we're unpacking an email you sent over, one that really gets into some thorny issues around tech, control, and modern leadership.
That's right.
And the analogy Nacho Caballero uses in it, well, it's pretty striking. It definitely sticks with you.
It really does. At the heart of the email is this very powerful, almost dystopian image. A woman in a coma kept alive by a tech company basically through a monthly subscription.
Wow.
Caballero labels it emotional capitalism with a monthly subscription. It's
Yeah.
deliberately unsettling, I think, designed to make us question what's really going on beneath the surface of things.
Absolutely. And the first key idea that jumps out from the email is this passivity, this sort of obedience, you could say.
Huh.
It focuses on the husband, whose main concern is just keeping up the payments. He doesn't question the system itself. Doesn't that sort of reflect how we sometimes just accept things without really thinking?
Totally. And what's interesting is how Caballero draws a line from that extreme scenario to, well, much more everyday dynamics in organizations. That lack of questioning the status quo happens a lot at work, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes it's routine, sometimes it's fear, but we just don't ask why.
Yeah.
And that can lead straight to inaction or just keeping inefficient processes going forever.
Which brings us neatly to the next big point,
Mhm.
the lack of clear direction in companies. How that can just spiral into endless debate with no actual outcome.
Exactly. The email says everything becomes an eternal debate.
Right.
And the result, decisions end up being made by, algorithms, committees, spreadsheets, or just plain fear, not by clear-headed leadership.
So connecting back to that initial image,
Mhm.
it's like the lack of someone taking charge creates a vacuum.
Precisely. That absence of leadership, of a clear direction, it creates this void. And it gets filled by impersonal processes or by just avoiding the tough calls altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Caballero argues that without a clear backbone, the organization kind of gets paralyzed, and control drifts to these external factors or just fear of responsibility, which you can imagine is incredibly frustrating for teams.
Yeah, I can see that. And that ties into what the email says about freedom at work, doesn't it?
It does.
The argument is that maybe too much freedom to talk without clear direction actually leads to teams deciding a lot, but solving very little. It ends up stifling innovation. Is that a fair summary?
I think it's a really important point he's making. It's not anti-participation. Caballero isn't saying don't listen to your teams,
Okay.
but he is saying that participation needs a framework, right? It needs clear guidance. Without that, freedom of speech can just become noise, and decision-making gets completely diluted.
So you need both ideas and the ability to act on them with direction.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance, isn't it?
Then there's this warning he gives about autonomy when it's offered by others. He suggests it can sometimes just be a way for leaders to dodge responsibility. They just want to get it off their plate. That sounds a bit cynical, maybe.
It's definitely a call for critical thinking. Not every offer of autonomy is genuine, is it?
True.
Sometimes, yeah, it might mask a lack of leadership, or maybe it's an attempt to avoid being accountable for decisions. What Caballero seems to be urging is don't just accept it. Ask what the real intention is.
Right. Look beneath the surface again.
Always.
And finally, the email offers a potential solution, which sounds almost simple on the face of it. Fewer meetings, more direction.
Yeah.
Shift the focus to establish clarity first as a starting point for real change in a team.
Exactly. It's very practical, really. Before getting bogged down in endless debates, let's make sure everyone knows which way we're heading.
So more direction as the foundation for effective collaboration.
That's the idea. Makes sense, right?
It does. So to wrap up, this email from Nacho Caballero really highlights a core tension, balancing technological progress and organizational freedom against the fundamental need for clear leadership and critical thinking, not just blindly following rules.
Absolutely. And that kind of leaves a question for you, the listener, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you seen situations where a lack of clear direction just drowned out good individual ideas?
Or maybe where a seemingly convenient tech solution actually hid a deeper ethical issue or a practical problem. Something to think about.
Definitely.
And it's worth mentioning, this whole exploration of Nacho Caballero's ideas has actually been produced by an AI. It's an example of the kind of work he's doing and teaching as a professor of AI at EUD Business School.
That's right. A demonstration in itself.
So if these ideas resonated with you, if you want to dive deeper into these topics around technology, leadership, and AI, we definitely encourage you to subscribe to his newsletter. You can find it at www.nachocaballero.com.
It's a great resource.
And this deep dive itself is just one example of what AI can help create in terms of valuable content. Thanks for tuning in.